businesses that actually makes Lagos tick. Is the entrepreneurial drive of the people of Lagos that makes the difference. It's the markets that is in Lagos, the vibrant market. Lagos is one big market with 22 million people, with a lot of cerebral minds in this place. It houses probably the highest proportion of very high capacity mental ability in this country, and all of this is happening in Lagos. It's my view that this conference that we'll be holding from 27th to 29th will leave imprints in your mind and hopefully would encourage those of you who want to make Lagos your home for trade come into Lagos completely. It's themed correctly, industrialization and innovation, revitalization of the industrial sector to unlock the Nigerian potential. Like you know, Lagos is the gateway of the world into Nigeria, and Lagos is also the gateway of Nigeria to the world. We control over 75% of the flights, inbound and outbound flights out of Nigeria, and in terms of shipping, Lagos probably controls over 75% of the amount of cargoes coming in. It's our dream, and we have begun those investments, which you will see in the Lekki corridor. You'll see the deep sea port going on. We believe that within the next 2 years, right, that whole operation will come alive. And it's in that regard we are beginning to put together the infrastructure that is required. So when you see us doing the Eleko to Ekpe road, we're actually expanding it into a dual 3-lane on each side, rigid pavement, concrete way, because we are beginning to anticipate the amount of traffic that will move in that corridor. In addition to that, we have flagged off the regional road, which will run parallel to the Lekki-Ekpe Expressway from VGC down to Freedom Way. That is also going to be rigid pavement, 3-lane on both sides, with 2 bridges, right, just to decongest the amount of traffic in this corridor. In addition to that, we have advertised the Green Line, in fact, the Green Rail Line, which will run from Marina along this also corridor for investors to come in. We believe that Apapa has reached its full capacity by far. When the deep sea port comes operational in both its phase 1 and phase 2 is completed, it will drive 4 times the capacity of Apapa. We're also in very deep conversation around the Badagry deep sea port, basically to just create the readiness of Lagos State to begin the competition in the African Continental Free Trade Zone. In that zone, it will not be countries competing with countries, but cities competing with cities. And people will move from city to city and trade across. And we want Lagos to be that hub. As a result of that, we know we must develop the capacity of our people. And that is why our investment in human capacity is growing. Our budgetary allocation this year is up by over 33% to 160 billion this year, just developing capacity. We also know that the youth population is about 45% of this population, and therefore we must engage the youth very strongly. And one of the spaces in which the youth play, right, is in the area of technology. So we've increased our budgetary allocation in that place by 298% to 32 billion, basically to just increase the capacity, right, of industry, of productivity of our people. I think the idea is that we are planning for the future. We are preparing our people for the future. We are speaking to Africa to say Lagos is ready really for business. In line with that, we are going to be, we flagged off a 3,000 kilometer broadband fiber duct infrastructure around Lagos, basically to bring the high capacity internet capacity through all the underwater cables into the homes and into the industries. We have gone more than halfway, and I'm sure as you move around Lagos, you see those coded pipes, those colored pipes. They are getting ready, and the telcos are excited about that to bring that capacity in. We believe that technology is one way by which we can fast track the development and begin to improve behavior around the city and around the metropolis. But when we came into, when Mr. Governor came into power, one of the things he promised the people was improved transportation. It was clear to us that transportation will not improve just by building roads alone because of the rate at which urban migration comes into Lagos. It was clear to us that for us to improve the environment and the transportation systems, it was important that we invested very heavily in mass transportation. It is tough to put in rails. You hardly see subnationals around the world investing in rails. Most of the rails you see around the world are national and sovereign governments doing that. But Lagos State felt we needed to be audacious. We needed to find a creative way of ensuring that we solved that problem, because if you do not solve the mass transportation problem, at some point movement will be difficult. So we said we wanted to drive a multimodal transport system. We wanted to drive movements on rail. We wanted to drive movements on roads. We wanted to also drive movements along our waterways. And that's what we are doing. By the sheer innovation of Mr. Governor, working with his entire finance team, including myself, we were able to bring to closure, financial close, the financing of the infrastructure for the Red Line. The Red Line will move people. Thank you. The Red Line will move people all the way from Agbado down to Oyingbo and then to Marina in its phase 2. It will move about 22.5 million people every month, reducing their travel time really by almost 50%, from 2 hours to 45 minutes. You can imagine what that will mean to the productivity of our people. And like I said earlier, when the people of Lagos prosper, then Lagos prospers. That Red Line will have about 10 overpasses, like 10 bridges going, and those are real bridges, right? It will have about 13 pedestrian bridges. It will have about 8 bus stations, and those are going to be areas of concourse. And when you see the images, you'll know it will change completely the way people travel, their travel experience. And with our payment systems and multimodal methodology, you'll be able to use the same card both on road, in our bus rapid transport, and on water. We're also expanding the amount of vessels that we are putting on our waterways, and we are expanding the routes on our waterways. We are building right now about 15 jetties across Lagos, right, to move people easily across the city, so that our people will have options in moving all over the place to do business. And they could also decide not to move, because if the internet is strong and it's high speed, then there is a number of things you can do without needing to move. But the whole idea of our internet work and our technology work is not just to use it as an enabler. We want to drive it also as a business, because we want that Lagos becomes the technology hub for Africa. And given the industry of our people, given the entrepreneurial men of our people, we believe we will take it if we provided the infrastructure and created the environment to do that. To stimulate that, Mr. Governor and the government has also invested in what we call LASRIC, which is the Lagos State Science and Research Council, where we encourage people to solve the Lagos problem, and we put seed capital in that space, right? And there's a lot of work going on in that area, and we are quite excited about the innovative capacity that comes that you see, in addition to other infrastructure that is ongoing around Lagos State at the same time. So I really would say welcome, interact, see what we are doing, see what is possible within the engineering community, within the manufacturing community, because this is a manufacturing base for Nigeria. We want to expand that narrative. We want to expand it very greatly beyond we don't just want to be the financial place where you have all the financial heads. We want to also be the manufacturing base of this country. We want to be able to attract very high premium capacity manufacturing, right? High quality manufacturing. And I believe that events like this sow those seeds to bringing about the relationships that make it happen. Thank you very much, EMWA, for this. And I believe that this will basically contribute to what we're trying to do in Lagos. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
At this point, we'd like to invite a representative of the headline sponsors. Can you please come forward? Atlas Copco, is he here? Oh, right. A round of applause for him.
A very good morning to everybody. My name is Olushola Aluko. I'm the Regional Business Line Manager for Atlas Copco Business in Sub-Saharan Africa. Please allow me to stand on the already established protocol. But first, I would like to thank Zenith Exhibition, team well led by Joseph. I thank you for putting me up stage again one more time. I think for the past 5 or 4 years, I've always been standing here to speak on one thing or the other. So thank you very much again for the opportunity. So for me, I'm to spend here just 1 minute and just explain why do we have to partner with Zenith or with Hemwa. For us, at Atlas Copco, we innovate. Year in, year out is what we do as a manufacturer of compressed air and gas equipment. And you will agree with me that there is no innovation without interaction, because you have to listen to your client and understand their need, then you can bring up solution. So for us, there is no better place to get that done than at EMWA, where we can have our client in their large numbers coming to discuss their need and challenges with us while we provide solution within our product range. So for us, we are right at the middle. We're waiting for you. It's a win-win situation because manufacturers of one product or the other in the space of Nigeria, we have one thing or the other to discuss. We have one need or the other, especially in this challenging time. Probably they are looking at an equipment to be remotely monitored instead of having 2, 3 people monitoring the same equipment. So welcome, feel free, get to interact with all other equipment manufacturers around. We are here to listen, and we hope that at the end of the day, we will have solutions that solve your challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. So right now we're about to declare the exhibition floor open. We'd like to call upon our Honorable Commissioner Sami Gobe to just cut the ribbon, and then we're free for the floor tour.
Um, I'll just say I'm delighted to cut this ribbon. This is about manufacturing, and this is about innovation, and this is about togetherness, and that is what Lagos stands for. I'd like to cut this, let it be for the benefit of Lagos, for Nigeria, and for the whole of mankind.
A round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. The floor is open. Please feel free to tour, interact, network, find good business. Thank you so much.
Hey, moving in bricks to the pound like ooh. Moving in bricks to the pound like ooh. Diamond on wrist ain't look like glue. Diamond on wrist ain't look like glue. Walk in the club and I flex like ooh. Walk in the club and I flex like ooh. Mix martial all over my shoe. Mix martial all over my shoe. Pull up swerving in the coupe. 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 Moving in bricks to the pound like ooh. Diamond on wrist ain't look like glue. Walk in the club and I flex like ooh. Mix martial all over my shoe. Medical bands in the kitchen. Medical bands for the whip. Take a nigga bitch go missing. Bitch I ball like a bitch. Walk in the club and I flex like ooh. Walk in the club and I flex like ooh. Mix martial all over my shoe. Mix martial all over my shoe. Pull up swerving in the coupe. Pull up swerving in the coupe. Pull up swerving in the coupe. Pull up swerving in the coupe.
Hello, everyone. Attention, we're about to start the panel session, and the next session is Business Environment Review, Creating a Friendlier Operating Environment for Emerging Businesses. Please make your way back to the conference room, the Knowledge Theater. Thank you. We'll be starting this in 10 minutes. Hello, everyone. Please make your way to the Knowledge Theatre, to the conference room. We're about to start a panel session, and our speaker is... the next session, our speaker is Dele Alimi, DG Institute of Directors. The topic is Business Environment Review, creating a friendlier operating environment for emerging businesses. Please make your way down to the Knowledge Theatre. Thank you.
Check 1, 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, please make your way to the Knowledge Theatre. We're about to start the next session. The speaker is Dele Alimi, DG, Institute of Directors. And the topic of discussion is Business Environment Review, creating a friendlier operating environment for emerging businesses. Please gather at the Knowledge Theatre. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Please gather at the Knowledge Theatre. We're about to start the next session. Can we please move forward? Can we please fill the seats in front of us so we have some organization? Thank you so much. Okay, moving right along. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Dele Alimi, the DG Institute of Directors. He's going to be taking us in a session called Business Environment Review, Creating a Friendlier Operating Environment for Emerging Businesses. A round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Let me, on behalf of the organizer, thank you for joining this session. I have been asked to do a review of the business environment, although on the sideline of looking at how do we have businesses, especially when you consider where we find ourselves now. We're talking about creating a more friendly environment for businesses in Nigeria. I am sure most of us here have heard so much about the Nigerian economy, even before the COVID era, how we went into recession, came out of recession, at the point that we think we were still stabilizing on the fragile growth that we had. COVID came in, and then we went back into recession. And I think the forecast is that this year we will be coming out of recession again with another maybe 2.2 growth rate for our economy, which is envisaged that by the end of this year and by 2022, we'll be looking at a growth rate of about 2.5. Sorry, the first one was 1.7, and then in 2022, 2.5. I could come before you today and start reeling out all these economic jargons, which we talk about the GDP, how we are the biggest economy in Africa, and all. But I decided today not to talk to you from my pen, but to talk to you from my heart, the heart of the average Nigerian. I want to talk to you like the Nigerian on the street, who is not an economist, and who doesn't understand what GDP or what macro or micro economic statistics will tell you, but want to tell you what the Nigerian SME, the Nigerian consumer, the average Nigerian is feeling on the street of Nigeria, and what we can do to make things better as government and as Nigerians ourselves. So I was asked whether I had a slide, and I told them that when you are speaking from your heart, it's difficult to write or to talk from a slide. The only thing I will tell you is that we have some peculiar problems in Nigeria that no books on economy can actually get us through. Ours is a peculiar environment. Whether that is good for us or not, I don't know. But the truth is, we need to look at our own environment, especially as Nigerians who want to go into business, as Nigerians who want to do things better, as Nigerians who want our economy to grow and who want our country to be better for what it is. At the moment, the greatest problem we are facing in this country today is more socioeconomic than political. And we have a country that is having a big fight within itself. We have a country that is finding it very hard to see itself as a country. The average young man in Nigeria today, when you talk about Nigeria, will say the unfortunate word, Nigeria is a scam. And I ask myself the question, if we live in a scam, then who are we? Or what are we? But can you blame them? They are reacting or responding to the stimuli provided from within the Nigerian economy. So you can't blame them. We have a problem of insecurity. Insecurity in Nigeria now wears tribal and ethnic coats. It's either a Yoruba armed robber, or a Fulani kidnapper or killer, or Igbo iPod Biafra person. It's even worse that even in government parlance, somebody did a press release on behalf of an agency of government and said a Biafran person. That is how bad it is. Yes, you can sack that person, you can suspend him, but the truth of the matter is that there is something deep inside him that you cannot take away. That is the way he feels about his fellow Nigerian who is living next door to him, who may be Igbo. The same thing with the Fulanis. I really pity them at this moment. Not that I have sympathy, but even the average Fulani man that is peaceful and going about his work the way he should is a kidnapper, as far as Nigerians are concerned. It's unfortunate. I am talking about the environment that nobody will talk about when we're talking about business and economy. We're talking about an environment where I, as Dele Alimi, who has a farm somewhere deep in my state, is scared to travel there because I'm not sure I'm not going to be kidnapped. And that is the environment that we have found ourselves in Nigeria. We have found ourselves in a situation where an Igbo man is scared to travel from Lagos to his hometown in the east because he's not sure what is going to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, our situation is really challenging. And I use the word challenging and not the word precarious, because challenges are supposed to be worked on, and they're supposed to be better. So, how are these affecting businesses in Nigeria? We've looked at our economy. We have an economy that relies almost solely on oil. It wouldn't have been very bad if the backward integration from oil or the gains from oil had been part of our gains in Nigeria. But the problem is that we gain on one hand and then throw it away on the other. And it's very simple. We sell crude to the entire world. We're now one of the world's largest supplier of crude. When the price of crude falls, we feel it. Because this is where we get, even when they don't tell us, this is where we get almost 90% of our revenue as a nation. So when the price falls, it affects us. And on the other side too, conversely, when the price goes up, we are happy. Our external reserve is better and everything. But you know the downside of it? We don't produce I want to use the right word now. The things from oil that are supposed to be what you and I, what touches us on a daily basis, what touches business on a basis, and that's the petrol, the kerosene, the oil, the gas, things that are supposed to use domestically and for us to enjoy because we are one of the largest producers of oil in the world. So when we sell crude at $40 per barrel, what it means for the person that is refining crude in Europe, in China, in Asia, is that his cost of production goes up. So when he wants to sell, he sells higher. And unfortunately, we now go there to buy because we don't refine. We have refineries that have been dead for years, despite the fact that we have people who are earning billions of naira every year as workers, as board, as CEOs of those refineries. I've never seen any wastage that is as colossal as what we do in Nigeria in that sector. We buy or we sell, and then we buy, and then we now take out of that money to subsidize. That's our famous oil subsidy. To subsidize what we sell to our people. And unfortunately, or incidentally, while the average man on the street, the manufacturer, may only be using maybe about 20% of the fuel we import, or the petrol, or the diesel we import into Nigeria. And the government is subsidizing, providing subvention on our behalf. The marketers take this oil across the border. After collecting the subsidy, they go out there and sell it to other countries. The countries are complaining that petrol coming from Nigeria is cheaper than the one they are refining in their own country. Why will it not be cheaper? Because the man has received subsidy. So he's making double money. And that is why we have to continue to use our own resources. Trillions. So when I was in school, I ended up at billions. But now it's trillions we're talking about because the value of the naira has gone down so much. To now pursue that subsidy, which at the end of the day is not adding any value to us as a nation. But unfortunately, because we didn't do it when we were supposed to do it, the issue of subsidy had become a political thing. And government does not seem to have the political will, or shall I say, the political power to remove subsidy. They say it, but they really cannot do it because it's something that can actually set the country on fire. The reason is that the other areas where they should have taken care of the welfare of the people had not been taken care of. So the people see that subsidy as the only thing that they are enjoying. Business see it as the only thing that they are enjoying. So why are you going to take it away? So at the end of the day, government is groaning. Manufacturers are complaining. Nobody is willing. Nobody is winning. This is an ill wind. This particular ill wind is not blowing good for any of us. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the environment that we find ourselves. Our naira is falling every day against the dollar, and it will continue to once we have an economy that is as unproductive as what we have in Nigeria. Sometimes in the early, I think 2000 or 2001, I was privileged to meet some investors from Asia who wanted to invest in agro-business in Nigeria. And I decided, as a patriotic citizen of Osun State, to take them to my own state. So we traveled along the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Then at Ibadan, we joined the Ibadan-Ife Expressway. They could see vast forest. When we got to Osogbo, my state capital, we talked about what we can do. And then we got to I wish I had not mentioned the year so that you people will not know the commissioner who was there then. We got to the place and we met the man and his wife. They were in his sitting room. They were playing card. Ladies and gentlemen, we waited for 1 hour. Myself and the investors. We waited for 1 hour for the man to finish playing card with his wife before attending to investors who wanted to invest in the country. That was the last I heard from these people. It's tragic. So we have problem in the economy. We have problem of people. And that is what I'm going to talk about today. That if we want to make this environment better, we should look at the economy. Well, we should also look at ourselves as Nigerians. I have quite a number of friends who are currently working. They have a 9-to-5 job. And by virtue of their position, they are doing well. They have some savings. They would like to invest, set up a cottage industry. Let's not even go that far. Let's talk about even set up a car wash. We had 2 or 3 friends who did that, set up a car wash. And then he kept complaining that the return from that car wash was just not worth it. And we advised him to put in a CCTV. The one that you can monitor online. And he put it there. Every day they tell him that, oh, we didn't wash more than 10 cars today. It's only weekend, maybe Saturdays and Sundays that we wash about 20-25 cars. So he decided to start monitoring. And on a daily basis, that car wash was actually having a turnover of not less than 100 cars. Every day. 100 cars. Every day. 100 cars. And then he had to come back to tell them. They didn't change, so he closed down the car wash. And I can tell you, that is a story that is very, very popular in Nigeria today. We have a lot of Nigerians who have set up small businesses, agro, industry, and they've left those businesses because of the way you and I, who work with them, have run down the businesses. So we have to also look from the economy to the social part of it. Our young people who are working, but who are more concerned about making money than making a career or building the company they work for. That has been a source of discouragement for a lot of Nigerians who want to set up businesses. I am one example. My wife is another example. And I'm sure here we can get a lot of other examples of people who had wanted to start businesses, but because of the way the people they employed had run those businesses, they had to fold it up. So now we have money in banks, sitting in banks. We have trillions of naira sitting in banks, doing nothing. And we have an economy that is crying and looking for funds. You can see the disconnection between the two. You see the banks declaring profits, billions every year. And the real sector that is supposed to get their support is not getting. One, their interest rate is very high. Despite the fact that deposit rate is getting lower, interest rate is not following by getting lower. So the money is there, doing nothing, and every day our money is spent in the bank. It's losing value. I am currently building a small piggery, and within 1 month, we had bought cement for 2,700, for 3,300, and for 4,100 within 1 month. That industry, the construction industry, is one of the industries that can employ a lot of people, skilled, unskilled, and semi-skilled. But the problem is that getting to do anything in that industry today, despite the fact that 99% of the raw material for cement is found here in Nigeria, cement continues to rise and nobody is doing anything about it. I said I'm going to talk to you from my heart and not from my pen. I just want you to know what the business environment is like. Then we'll talk about what we can do to change things and to make things better. Because really I'm not here to discourage you from investing. Rather, I want to talk about those things you should think about before investing. And now you must attack this problem in a different way, because we cannot continue to do the same thing the same way and expect things to change. They will remain the same. In fact, they will get worse. So, ladies and gentlemen, apart from the economy, we have to look at our own mindset as Nigerians and how we tackle issues. The work attitude of the average Nigerian. I have been privileged to travel out of this country, and I have worked with customer service personnel in other countries. I have been in a telecommunication company store where there were about 10, 15 of us, and we had only one service officer serving us. The lady was so effective and efficient that he was reaching out to everybody in that queue. Despite the fact that you are standing and you're in a queue, you don't feel left out because he keeps telling you, I'm sorry, I'll soon be with you. And he's so efficient. And you will patiently wait because it's obvious that it will get to my turn. Come back to the attitude of the average Nigerian customer relations person that you want to deal with. The whole anger that he or she has on the street gets to the person he's talking with. That is an average Nigerian for you. We need to work on it. The Nigerian businessman is not concerned about the survival of the business. It's survival about what he can make now. So, you set up a business. Of course, we all know that there are the assets you put into it. You will have spent a lot of money, especially if it's Nigeria. And then you start the business. But you put yourself in a position where your prices are not competitive. And the same product that is brought from outside the country sells cheaper than what you are selling in Nigeria. Of course, you are already ringing the bell of failure. Yes, the excuse that I've had many, many times when we discuss this issue is the cost of production in Nigeria. Yes, I agree with you, it could be high. But the truth of the matter is that I've been involved in manufacturing, and I know sometimes the way we pad our production system is such that there's no way we will be competitive. And that will bring me to the issue of corruption. When we talk corruption in Nigeria today, we all talk about government. We look at government. But I tell you, the corruption within ourselves, the corruption in the private sector is worse than the one in government. Maybe we shout about the one in government more because, of course, they are eating our sovereign wealth. And you may say, okay, if I set up a company and I'm corrupt, maybe it's my money. But at the end of the day, when you establish an organization that has employed 10 people, and you continue to run the company in a corrupt way and in a bad way, and this company folds up, are you the only one that will be affected by that folding up of the company? Whether you like it or not, you are going to affect the lives of other people. And that is why we need to look at that issue of corruption, individually especially. I am not one. I love this country so much. I tell people, because I don't have any other one, fortunately. I don't have any other country to go to. So I want my country to survive. But the truth of the matter is that the average Nigerian on the street is, unfortunately, even more corrupt than the people we talk about in the political realm. Everything we do, it's about it. The policeman on the road, I know they get angry when we mention them because they are not the only one. The custom man at the border, who allows a good to come in to the detriment of the other Nigerians. They're supposed to pay. The government comes up with policies that says, okay, we want to ensure that foreign goods that come into the nation comes in at a more expensive rate than the local one, so that we can encourage local production. But because almost everything is smuggled in, there's no revenue for government, and then this product come in at a rate that is more competitive than to the average manufacturer in Nigeria. So at the end of the day, we are losing jobs, companies are folding up, and I think, for me, the biggest thing to kill, the biggest snake in the room that we need to kill in Nigeria is corruption. And I look beyond government. Even the average Nigerian is as corrupt. We all want to fight corruption, but not in our own compound. We want to fight corruption in the next compound. When you get appointed into a position today, Nigerians congratulate you, not because they think you have anything to offer, but because they think it is your time to come and shop. Or is it chop, they call it. So, the more we have that mindset, the more that mindset is with us, our business environment cannot be okay. So we talk about the business environment that has to do with the economy and government. Today I want to talk to you about the business environment that is about you and I, and that will take you and I to change. Yes, we need encouragement from our leaders to help us to change this. But I tell you today, most of those leaders who today you abuse on social media, you accuse them of so many things, if they turn in there today, almost all of you want to take selfies with them. So how would they know you are angry with them? How would they know you are angry with them? You want to take selfies with them. And then if any of them does anything wrong and the long arm or short arm of the law catches up, that is when we will remember that it's from the southwest. It's from the northwest. It is because it's not from the president's area. That's why it's been persecuted. It is not from the governor's local government. That's why it's being persecuted. So we have a situation of affluence for some people in the midst of squander. We have a lot of poor people and a trickle of rich people. And that brings me to the issue of insecurity, where we have found ourselves today. Nigeria has spent millions of naira in schools, especially public schools, in universities. I attended public university, and I knew how much I gained from these schools, from the lecturers who taught me. I know how much Nigeria has spent on me, and that is how much we're spending on young people all over the country today. But how many of these young people is able to return part of this investment to this country? They are on the street. They are jobless. They don't have anything to do. So what they have done now is that they have looked at other ways to exert those energy. And that is why you continue to have Yahoo, Yahoo, getting stronger and getting bigger every day. Because they are very brilliant people. And what they have done is to put that brilliance somewhere where they think they can take care of themselves, take care of their family. While I will not for any reason support anybody doing that, but the truth of the matter is that we have a system that is continuously encouraging people to go left. We have a system that is saying that it is not wrong for you to engage in criminality. And the reason I'm saying this is that you continue to see people engaging in criminality blossoming, while the people who are doing well are suffering. So the lesson, unlike the nice stories that our grandmas and mommies used to tell us those days, when they finish the story, they will ask you, so what is the moral of the story? Because at the end of the day, the person that does evil ended up getting something bad. But is that the case today in Nigeria? No. So the moral of the story is not coming out. And that is why we're having these issues. Even when people are arrested, the corruption within our security system will get them out in no time. Because everybody just they collect their own. That's the way we call it. Everybody they collect their own. I recall very well during the COVID-19 lockdown, a friend traveled all the way from Kano to Lagos during the lockdown. And I asked him, how did you do it? He said, is this not Nigeria? And I told him, so you should stop complaining. If you think it is a nation where anything goes, that is our environment. That is the environment within which we operate. I will also talk about our regulatory authorities. In Sena Climes, regulatory authorities who work with organizations, work with companies, work with manufacturers, are supposed to be your support. They're supposed to help you to do your business in a safe way and in a way that will provide quality. But today, regulatory authorities have become money-making ventures, even for government. You see regulatory authorities declaring that they had made so millions or so billions of naira in a year. That was not what they were supposed to do. They were supposed to support. I'll just take one, NAFDAC. NAFDAC is expected to support any organization, any company in the area of food, drugs, to do well. And when I say do well, I mean ensure that there is standard procedure for your manufacturing process. What you are bringing out is not inimical to the health of the average Nigerian. But I have seen a NAFDAC that stands with Hams, Kimbo, and come to your factory and look and say, no, this is not good. We didn't do this well. And for years, you end up not getting the license you require. What I had expected in NAFDAC or any other regulatory agency to have is a consulting part of their role, where Dele Alimi, who wants to start a fruit processing company, will come to, and they will give me a guideline that will help me to know what exactly I'm expected to do. What are the systems, what is the quality assurances I'm supposed to put in place? And then from the beginning, NAFDAC and I are partners in progress. So instead of being a policeman that comes to check me when I finish everything, they are my collaborators who from the beginning when I'm setting up, even at the point of deciding which machinery I'm buying or not, they support me. If we do that, the job of NAFDAC is made easier. Manufacturers can get their license on time, and the people will get quality products to eat and drink. I just use that example for you to know what, because what you see now is regulators with policemen, mobile policemen with guns and everything. I remember when I was working with LCCI, we had a member whose factory was locked. And let me tell you what they did. They entered the factory, and told all the staff to go out. Not one machine was put off. All the machines were running, and they told everybody to go out. The man had to call my boss and said, look, if it goes on for the next 1 hour, that factory will go up in flame. Because there are some machineries that are supposed to get some level of water. There are some that should stop working, rest for 10 minutes and things like that. It wasn't until we went all the way from Victoria Island to Ikotu. I'm sure you know how long it will take us to get there, to plead with these people to allow that to happen. That is not the role of a regulatory agent. You don't want to kill that company. We don't have enough. Why would you kill the ones that we have? You want to make sure. And you know, what has happened is now that so many of these manufacturing companies have now gone under. Not that they are not producing again. They will pretend they are not producing again, but they will be producing adulterated product. And then they will sell it in Oshodi in the night. And people will still buy because it will be cheap. And people will need to go to the hospital. They will spend more on their health because they are buying adulterated products. That is our environment. When we talk about unemployment today, it's very high in Nigeria. But it's attributable to what I said earlier on. The moment we don't have enough people setting up companies, we don't have enough entrepreneurs, not because they don't have the spirit, but because they are scared of you and I, or what we will do to their company. It is the maxim here in Nigeria today to say, so if you establish any company and you are not there to manage it yourself, forget it. Unfortunately, it's the truth. So, how will I, as DG of IOD, who has some 1 naira to put into something, now put it there? I won't. Because I know if I'm not there, and this is my hard-earned money. I didn't steal it from anywhere. And I can tell you that is what is happening to people, a lot of people like me. The middle class in Nigeria today are no longer investing in our economy. And there's no way we're going to be having the number of organizations that can employ our teeming youths. The size of our youth population is supposed to be an advantage for our nation. So many countries, Canada is getting our people to come there because they know the value of having young people, vibrant people within the economy. We are losing our own people to them. We are losing people who are supposed to really rethink our economy. In my organization today, I tell people I prefer to work with young people. The reason why I prefer to work with young people is that they come with new ideas. They come with fresh ideas. They look for ways of doing things differently. But we have a nation that continues to keep people of 60, 65, 70, 80 in decision-making process in Nigeria. They will do it the way they've always done it. And it will never change. That is one of so that is why we have these teeming youth out there who have dissipated their energy into the wrong things because we have refused to give them something that will properly engage them and engage their intelligence. So where should we go? Ladies and gentlemen, it is difficult for manufacturers today. One, our Naira continues to go down. I think yesterday or 2 days ago, I heard that in the parallel market, where almost all of us source for Forex, it's now about 480 Naira to $1. I'm sure before the end of the second quarter, we may be thinking of 500 Naira, depending on what happens. I'm not a doomsday person, but depending on what happens, I mean, it's just whether we like it or not, that is what is going to happen if it continues this way. So you ask yourself, what can I invest in? So the average investor should look at, what am I going to invest in where the instability in Forex will least affect? That's one thing you have to look at. How do you survive this economy? If you want to invest, go to an area where you can get one locally fabricated manufacturing equipment where you have to pay with your Naira. Go to an area where your raw material, 100% is sourced internally. So you are not at the whims and caprice of the regime. You are able to buy everything you do locally. And I tell you, there are a lot of it. There are loads of it. And the major area is agro-processing. The good thing about agro-processing is the fact that your raw material is here at home. And you can actually export some of these things that you are producing. I think I saw on the social media something, sometimes last month or this month, about Gari from Asia. And everybody was wondering what was going on. Is it that we don't have Gari in Nigeria? Why would somebody import Gari from Asia? But that is to show you the kind of people we are in Nigeria. We talk about cassava being the king. Cassava is a king of agri-products in the world. And we have a land throughout Nigeria. I don't think there's any part of Nigeria where you cannot plant cassava. I have not seen that part of the country. I don't think there's any part of this country where they don't take Gari. So that means even more than rice, Gari is a staple food in Nigeria. But have we done any backward integration to be able to support production of cassava and also to support manufacturing sector in the area of cassava and everything that it can offer us? That is one. So agric is the thing. We talk about primary agriculture itself. I see a lot of irrigation farming going on in the northern part of the country. Wonderful. Because of the topology, or usually the weather. Say the weather in that place. But in my hometown, there are about 4 rivers, if not more than that, which means irrigation will be cheaper in my part of the country than in the north. Why you may not stop irrigation in the north? What stops us? The government in the southwest, in the southeast, in the south-south. What stops them from irrigation in the south, where there is food production 24/7, 365 days in a year? And we'll stop this issue of, oh, it is the season of maize. It is the season of orange. It's the season of... This old season we are talking about mostly is about water, provision of water for the crops. We will be harvesting maize all round the year. And the average farmer will be the better for it. And then that man who wants to add value to maize, who can set up a small factory that is producing syrup from maize, will get his supply 24/7. Private companies in Nigeria have done it. I've seen tobacco companies. Unfortunately, tobacco companies, what they do is they get farmers together in a cooperative, supply them all the inputs. The farmers continue to produce. The farmers produce the tobacco. They are assured of where to sell it to. So the cycle continues every year. And they never run out of tobacco. But you know the funniest thing? These tobaccos are taken out of the country. And our country is not getting the best out of it. Because it doesn't go out the right way. So ladies and gentlemen, what I've done now is to take you out of the normal thing you hear about the Nigerian economy. And which is about, oh, it's the Naira, it's this, it's that. And I think we need to look inwards. Today, we need to look at ourselves as Nigerians and ask ourselves what we can do better. I have employed quite a number of people in my private organization, and I have been disappointed. I have also employed quite a number of Nigerians that I have been very proud of. So it is not as if we don't have Nigerians who are good. But the truth of the matter is that we have quite a lot to do as fathers, as mothers, as brothers, as sisters, to work on our system. Our nation, our leaders are products of you and I sitting down here. At the point of choosing who leads us, what do we do? Do we just sleep at home that Saturday and allow anybody to come in and rule us? Because at the end of the day, when you allow the wrong person to rule you, even if you are the right person, they take all the decisions while you have to abide with what they take. We complain today about that our government at all levels are not doing well enough. But when it is time to vote them, you still see hundreds of thousands of people following them around, campaigning for the same people, and the right people never get the kind of thing we want. So ladies and gentlemen, let us look beyond the figures, the rhetorics. The average man needs not more of this GDP and other statistics that we talk about. There was a time our GDP was growing astronomically. I remember very well then. And I asked my boss, and I said, look, our GDP is growing. We became the biggest economy in Africa. But there's nothing to show on the people. And he told me, the truth is, what is responsible for that growth is going out of the window. It's going out of Nigeria. It's not on the street. So we need to look at things that will be on our street, that will touch the lives of yourself and myself and our children, our youths, and that is the only way Nigeria will grow. I thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir. We'd like to take at least 2 questions before we move on to the next session. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you, sir. Very, very wonderful speech there. So I would like to ask you, what do you think is the major hindrance towards low export penetration of goods manufactured in the country being sold in international markets, and how can that be adjusted?
Okay, thank you very much. Shall I take it as they ask the question? Yeah, okay. Well, you're going to bring me back to where I didn't want to go, but then it's important. The first thing I will say is that we have not covered a niche in the areas of export that Nigeria wants to be known for. Our largest export is still oil. After this, that will be agriculture. But when you look at what we export, most of the time we export raw agricultural products, and which does not give the value that it should have. We do a lot of that. And I think the best thing for us to do to get the value from our export is to add value from it locally. For example, if I tell you in Nigeria today that, I'm sure you know, we export wood, we export cassava, we export cocoa beans. The difference between the price of cocoa beans and cocoa powder, that does not require a lot of technology. It doesn't, turning cocoa bean into cocoa powder does not require a lot of technology. But when you see the quantum, the difference in the price in the international market is in thousands of dollars. But here we export cocoa beans. We have people who are feeding fat from that in Nigeria. So we need to add value to the agro export in Nigeria. 2, we need to provide incentives. There are some incentives that are in place already. But you see, ours is a nation where our incentives are always on paper. Half of the people who need to know don't even know that those incentives exist. I tell you, if you go to a place like the Nigerian Export Export Promotion Council, you see the wonderful incentive that government has put in place. If you go to the Bank of Industry, you will see the wonderful credit facilities they have for exporters. But the question is, most people who want it don't go there. The problem is that there is this breakdown of communication between the government and the people. Beyond the breakdown, there's also the lack of trust. When government comes up with anything, Nigerians don't believe it, unfortunately. Even if it's the best thing in the world. I'm telling you today, if you sit down in your house and somebody knocks and says, government said we should give you 100 million, you will close your door. Am I lying? Because you don't believe it. You think there must be something. That contract, social contract between the government and the people is completely broken down. And it's the same thing with the business sector. So we need to look at those incentives. And except we do that, we are wasting our time about industrialization. In fact, the Naira rate now would have been a great advantage if we were a productive country. What it will mean will be that it will be an incentive for people to come to Nigeria to produce, because it will be cheaper to produce in Nigeria because our currency is low against other currencies. We are becoming our currency is becoming the lowest in Africa, except for some areas that have had maybe Zimbabwe, that have had it very bad. Ours is becoming, so we should have been a place, if we are productive, if we had the infrastructure, we should have been the place to attract manufacturers from all over Africa. Especially with the after thing that is being talked about now. So that way, but except we put the right incentive in place to encourage people, we will never get there. So we should focus, have a niche for ourselves. What exactly every section of this country must be known for something to export? The north, the northwest, the northeast, the southwest, the southeast, the south-south. And I'm sure we could become a center for different products, and government provide incentives for exporters from those regions. And then we can come up with products to sell. That way, we can earn more money from other products than from oil. Unless we do that, unless we encourage export, unless we provide support for exporters, it's not going to work out. Because I can tell you, yes, some people are cashing out from export, but it has been through personal efforts, and they go through a lot. You know that it's even more difficult to get things out of our ports in Nigeria than to get it in. I won't want to dwell into that here. It's about corruption. It is more difficult to export things from Nigeria than to import. So that is where we'll find ourselves. Unless we correct all those areas, we are wasting our time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. One more question.
Thank you. I wanted to know, because we find that there's some drive in today's business landscape that we can do for ourselves, regardless of government support or, the economy and all those things.
Thank you very much. I think this will start from we'll start from the beginning. Your choice of business you want to go into. That's where it starts from. And that was what I was talking about, looking at sourcing your resources. Go into a business where sourcing your resources will not be the rules of Naira and dollar. It's a decision. It's a wise decision. The other side of it is that as business people, whether we like it or not, we need to thinking caps. We need to really, really wear our thinking caps and look at what do we do despite this unfriendly. Yes, I agree with you. The atmosphere is very, very unfriendly. But you will see that even during this period, we have some companies in Nigeria that are doing well. I've seen that happen. And I think we also have to look at the issue of management. We must learn to, there is an Igbo proverb that I read in Things Fall Apart. I'm not very good in Igbo, but I think Things Fall Apart. He said, when the hunter learn how to shoot without missing, the particular kind of bird learn to fly without perching. Which means, what this means that you must constantly analyze the environment you find yourself. And as a businessman, you must wear your thinking cap, think out of the box. I have a friend who is in the pharmaceutical industry, a very small organization that deals with over-the-counter drugs. And during the COVID problem, I don't know how he did it. Within about 2 months, he had converted his factory and he was producing masks and producing sanitizers. And I can tell you, during that period, when everybody was growing, he didn't sack any staff. In fact, engaged more people. So it's also about thinking and thinking well. It starts with the business you want to go into. In Nigeria today, if you start a business where everything is import dependent, you have killed your business from the beginning. I'm sorry. Because you're going to be relying on very scarce forex. So you'll be forced to go to the black market, and there's no way you're going to be competitive at all. Then the other thing is also, as business people, despite everything we have said, you need to invest in human resources. The man that's going to do the work is more important. When I say man here, I mean the two genders. If you both agree with me that there are only two genders. I mean, when I say man here, it's kind of a woman and the man that's going to do the job for you. You need to invest in them. Because at the end of the day, whether you are there or you are not there, there are people that are going to do the work. So if you don't invest in human resources, for them to be able to help you in moving your business forward, it will be a colossal error. So I think for now, yes, there are a lot of things we cannot control. The external environment, the economy, the insecurity. But despite this, we still have to continue to do business. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. We're going to take some pictures and then we will move right on to the next session. Thank you so much. A round of applause for Mr. Dele Alimi. Moving swiftly along, our next topic of discussion is investment opportunities and industrial development. Okay, we're going to take a 2-minute break and then we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Joseph Or. I'm the Project Director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses went down the drain, but we have Hi, my name is Joseph Or. I'm the Project Director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses went down the drain, but we have decided to create this platform to bring businesses together. If you're in the manufacturing sector, industrial technology, if you're into any form of manufacturing or supporting industry, you want to be at the Landmark Event Center.
Establish new business relationships and secure new deals. Date 27 to 29th April 2021. Venue Landmark Event Center, Victoria Island, Lagos. Time 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. For more info, please log on to emwestafrica.com or call 0809 1155 499. That is 0809 1155 499. Powered by Zenith Exhibitions.
manufacturing and supporting industry, you want to be at the Landmark Event Center. Hope to meet you there. Hi, my name is Joseph Oro. I'm the Project Director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I'd like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year, and
Now, when we talk, like the lady said, I'm from Ondo State and I actually work there. So I'm in charge of the one-stop shop called ONDIPA. That's the Ondo State Development and Investment Promotion Agency. That's a one-stop shop that takes care of investments and, and midwives and handhold investors for the sub-national. For those of you who may not know, Ondo State is one of the states in the southwest of Nigeria. We are the only state in the southwest that has serious oil and gas. We are the fifth or sixth producer of oil and gas in the country, and we produce 12% of Nigerians' oil and gas. And most of the unexplored petroleum resources in terms of the oil and gas sector are off our shores. Just as an intro, we have the longest coastline, 75 kilometers of contiguous Atlantic Ocean coastline in Nigeria, which means we have a lot of opportunities in the aquaculture sector. But those opportunities are just opportunities. They have not been tapped. So anybody who is looking for space in aquaculture, Ondo State is a place to go. But then, you see, Ondo is a very funny place. Funny in the context that when you think of Ondo, you talk of the raw materials, the kaolin, the oil and gas, the fact that we're the largest, we have the largest deposit of bitumen in Africa and the third largest deposit of bitumen in the world, second only to Venezuela and Canada. But those are not, we have gold, we have kaolin, we have silica sand, we are the largest producer of cocoa and cassava, second in oil palm, all sorts of things. But those are not the things that matter. Those are not the things that drive industrialization. Those are not the things that drive investment. The greatest resource you have is the human resource. Without that, all of those things stay in the ground. And you can see that in the African continent, where we're so resource rich, but in terms of human resource, we're fairly poor. So those are the things that you need, because that is what drives your creativity, that allows you to understand that the problems that you see, especially in the context of Nigeria, if you put them in context, they're actually opportunities that you can engage and derive benefit from. So the gold will be there, the bitumen will be there, the cocoa will be there, the kaolin will be there, the silica sand will be there, the bauxite will be there, the quartz, the dimension stones, they are all there. But without the creativity of the human mind that drives your investment thoughts, those things will not materialize. So what I'm trying to say is that if you put it in context, the fact that you brag about what you have underneath the soil is nothing. What is important, there must be a marriage between what you have underneath the soil and what you have on top of the soil. That is the human resource. That is what drives your creativity. That is the hunger. That's what allows you to see that, okay, let's say this room were hot. What is the answer to it? Some form of aeration, some form of ventilation, some form of cooling. So until and unless you have that mindset, we will always gather like this and talk about the problems, but you miss the opportunities. The opportunities are embedded in the problem. When I was much younger, I was talking to my colleague here, that when I was much younger, I was about 24 or 25 years old. I think I was 24 then. I used to export cash crops from Nigeria to the UK. And how did I do that? Because when planes come, they come with a lot of junk we bought for Liverpool streets and everywhere in those days, right? But when the planes are going back, they're empty, which is one of the reasons why we pay very expensively for fares. So, and I didn't want to export anything through the port for the issues that have been enumerated, by the last speaker. So that means that all the cargo holds were virtually empty. So it was during Babangida's time, and there was there's a program, something for better life that Mariam Babangida was doing. We would go around Lagos, buy a lot of cash crops. That was mango, pepper, okra, I can't remember. About 5 of them, then I was trading in. Had the cartons made from Thomas White. Those cartons were perforated, Look for the nice ones of those things that have been bought from Ojota and other areas. Ikorodu, just go in and gather the ones that are exportable, put them in cartons and ship them abroad. And it was quite a profitable business. But as I grew older, what did that business fail? Somebody in the value chain disappointed, which means collected the money and did not return back to me. So that's issue I mentioned, that the issue of your human resource, your attitude is very important. But later, you see, if you have cash crops and you have them in a situation where they're exposed to heat, over time you find that your pepper that is formed, that is red, is actually water. So what was I actually doing? I was exporting a lot of water because it has, one, water is heavy. But that, when you look around here, you see a lot of machines. If I had known better, if I had the right connections, I'd be looking at value addition. So that instead of exporting all those things in their raw state, if you dice them, if you dry mango, if you dry any of those fruits, any of those cash crops, put them in another form, it will be lighter, it will have more preservation, it's more sellable. Because then in those days, I remember once you come down and then you go to somewhere in Gatwick, it's at a Greek place where terminal, where you are under pressure to sell immediately, because you can't keep it for 2-3 days. So I couldn't even take them to the warehouse. I just went to somewhere in Southeast London and offloaded. What did that mean? That what you are doing is trading. There was no value addition. But when you look at a place like this, you find out that if you have some value addition in the agri subsector, you make a lot of money. So our mindset in terms of the creativity and the value chain addition is very, very important. In a place like Ondo State, we're the largest producer of cocoa, but we have a small chocolate factory that is not even enough to feed a normal street in more developed countries. So you understand the point. So you have people trying to export cocoa from the Nigeria abroad, and when it gets to the port, it's there for weeks, and everything goes away. Now, any fruit, to maintain its composition, there's a lot of moisture. That means there's a lot of water, like I said earlier. But if you process it and add value, you get a lot more premium for what you are doing. In Ondo State, we are one of the largest producers of cassava. We do a lot of oil palm, pineapples, mango, the full 9 yards. But there's very little value addition. For those of you who are looking for opportunities, for investors who are here, those who do the machinery, the story of Ondo is the story of Anambra, of Adamawa, of everywhere. Very little value addition. Very difficult. So, because you spend a couple of months, at times years, in cultivating a particular crop. Cocoa takes about 3-4 years, minimum. And then the thing comes out and is ready for cultivation. And then you are in a race to go and sell. You see where the problem is, right? Where if you can process it, all you need to do is wait. They will come. But you, who have toiled the soil for years, you are under pressure to just dump. So that's one of the things that I'm talking about in terms of value addition in all that we do. Now, like I said earlier, we have 75 kilometers of coast and Atlantic Ocean. We don't have any fishery business of commercial scale. And what do you need to do that? Not a lot. Because I was somewhere not too long ago, I was in Ghana, and I went to the coastline, and you saw them, come when the fishermen came from the shores in the morning, from the ices in the morning. All they needed to have was some refrigeration. No processing. But what do we have here? Even all over Nigeria, when they come from the morning, when the fishermen come, they are under pressure to they're under pressure to sell. Same story, different produce. Now this is fish. I've told you what happens to cocoa, what happened when I was doing cash crop export. Fish, you go overnight and go deep into the seas. You come out, you're under pressure to sell. Because anytime when it starts getting hot, there's a problem. So we toil, but we don't have reward. So for those of you who are look at value addition. Presently, the federal government is doing a lot in terms of Bank of Industry, Central Bank. I know there are all those to get to. But I remember in my other life, I was very close to getting a Bank of Industry facility. I was the one that pulled back because I didn't think I could take the hassle. But not the hassle from them. I didn't think manufacturing was what I wanted to do. But now, but that was then. Now the whole thing is so simplified. It's done through internet, you just go and then they come and see, they ask for collateral, they may not. You know, there are many opportunities that exist. So I would ask anybody who is interested, we have a one-stop shop. Please come to us, or if you don't want to come to Ondo, go to any other state that is investment friendly, that the ease of doing business exists there, and you find out that, you know, until you start the journey, you don't really understand the opportunities that lie. Import substitution is very fashionable now. Anything that is imported into this country, if you go to CBN today, that you want to set up an import substitution, even at a micro level, they'll be running after you. Because with import substitution, you don't even need to do much. You already have your profit is determined by the differential between the cost of local production and the cost of importation. So even if you produce here at a higher rate than they do in China, the cost of transportation, when they add it to it, makes you more profitable. So you're actually in a monopoly situation when you do import substitution. If you look at what is happening in the cement industry, you'd understand. I don't want to go into details. In fact, that's an import substitution business. So once you can do it, and let me tell you something, you don't have to do cement in hundreds of thousands of bags. In many other countries that I've seen, people do cement, if you can do 5,000 bags, it will do 5,000 bags. From there, it will grow. So industrialization has nothing to do with size. It has to do with starting small. People talk about Dangote today. When I used to know him in those days, he was a very small trader. But once you take the opportunities that come there, you see, good ideas will always attract money. Very important. If you are shopping around with a good idea, there's always somebody who has funds. There's always a company. There's always an institution that's looking for something to fund. But the issue is you must have that creativity. You must have that idea in your mindset that you want to. Rubber is another thing. We have a lot of rubber in Ondo State, but we don't have any rubber processing plant. And you know what happened to the last one, Michelin? I think they went to Ghana, the one that used to be in River State. So there are opportunities everywhere for everybody to get into. One of the things I would want to say, that industrial development actually has to be a private to public sector initiative, because it's very difficult to be industrialized in Nigeria now without the infrastructure, which is why you see most of the right-thinking organizations are going next door. Because without infrastructure, you can't really develop. Without infrastructure, it's difficult to really do business. Let's talk about Ondo State and any other state in Nigeria. We're an agrarian society. The time and the hassle it takes you to take your pineapple, your orange, your banana to the market, and the hassle. When the roads are not good, what happens is that all of those produce, by the time they get to the market, they are bruised. You know, when you go abroad, you see, or you go to some of these shops, you see very fresh-looking pineapple, very nice. Even the skin of the plantain and the banana, you want to eat it. Why is that? The same banana that we grow here, probably even more nutritious because it's not been, artificially engineered. But the issue is that from harvesting to transportation, is the skin of those fruits are not like our skin that have endurance. They become bruised. And when anything is defaced, it loses value. Because I remember I buy one banana in America for $1, and I'll buy a whole bunch here for 500 naira, 200 naira. If you go into Interland, the worst case scenario in Lagos, 1,000 naira. You understand. What is the difference? In fact, the one you buy in America has been artificially engineered such that it stays on the shelf longer than it should. The one you have here is organic. And they will pay a lot of money for it in other climates. But because of the packaging, it looks rough. It has been squashed. It's gone on bumpy roads. So when you take it out, it's a problem. Those days I used to export. I'll put something in between. The fruits must not touch each other. So that when it gets there, it's looking nutritious. It's pepper. You almost are tempted to want to put it in your mouth. God help you. But you understand the point I'm trying to make. And when I did this, I want to say something. It's very important. I don't think I had up to 500,000 naira. So don't think of industrialization or investment as some mega box. It's putting all the variables together to lead to an end point. I think my greatest investment was in the cartons. The other things I bought as and when I needed. The day I want to ship pineapple, I'll go around town. Out of maybe 500 pineapples, maybe 200 or 300 will be good. The rest I give my neighbors. They didn't know what I was doing. They thought I was being generous. You understand? But everybody says, do you have anything left? I'm giving you the leftovers. The best ones I've packaged. So please understand that. And there are times now when I think of it that maybe I should have stayed in that business, because by now I'll have been the Dangote of that trade. So that's also the issue, that at times you stay there long enough to perfect your marketing, your production, your backward integration, forward integration, whatever you know how to do. You then become a market leader. 20-something years later, there's nobody who is a market leader in that business in Nigeria. In fact, there's nobody who is notable for taking pineapples out of Nigeria. Nobody. Nobody who is notable for taking most of these produce, mangoes, out of Nigeria. Nobody who is notable for taking pepper out of Nigeria. And what did it cost then? I think the largest thing was the cartons. The rest, you could even get the fruits on credit. It's not a big deal. Because the people who are selling it know it's going to go rotten. And you buy at a premium anyway. So they'll be begging you, and they will pack the good ones for you, because they know you are taking it out. And the other ones they will take to Ojota to go and sell. So that's just another example. In Ondo State, we have kaolin, we have silica sand. Those are the things, the materials you need for glass and ceramic. But we do not have an industry. The ones we had were at the moribund. For equipment manufacturers, for those who are so minded. In other climates, people do glass and ceramic as a cottage industry. So you have to understand that industrialization does not have to be mega. You start small, but you huddle fast. Starting small means that you do it from your backyard. It's as simple as that. After all, people do clay pots, and they do it in their backyard. Glass is the same thing. Ceramic is the same thing. Ceramic is clay pot that has been glazed. There's no big deal to it. Same procedure. It's just the finishing. And then you may decorate it and make it look fine. So what am I saying is that if you distill the process of industrialization, if you don't demystify it, you may start thinking that it's bigger than what you can achieve. But once you study to show yourself approved, you find that you get more interested, your passion will be ignited somewhere along the line. And you know that, on this product line, I can make a killing. The opportunities are there, and they will always be. Something I need to say, that I said it earlier before, that our people are our greatest assets. But until our people come together, if I had come together then with maybe one or two more people, right, I think I'll have gone further. Because instead of exporting water, because water, yes, is mango, is pineapple, most of it is water. It was heavy. My profitability would have been higher. If I had an agric person in my camp, he would have told me what I found out almost 10 years later. That, boy, this thing you are doing, let's also add value to it one way or the other. You make a lot more money. I was talking to some guys who we have a lot of forest in Ondo State. We're one of the most densely forested states in Africa. Very dense. When you are flying in, all you see is green, and you're asking for other colors. That green means vegetation. If you're flying to the other parts of the country, all you see is brown. That means they don't have forest. But what do we have? People fell the trees every day. I was talking to some investors in the UK about 2 weeks ago. When they told me what they had in mind, I was embarrassed. They said, we're going to do MDF, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. So I said, so why are you doing that? So, because if we try and take the log out, what we are taking out is air. And that's when I found out that within trees, what you have inside it, there's a lot of air. So that's why they slice them into bits and compress them, HDF, MDF, even if you don't want to treat further. You understand? So there's a knowledge base that will ignite your industrialization thought process. That would you understand the point? So every sector, everything that they were doing is geared to profitability. When they explained it to me, I was surprised that, wow, because every day when you are going down southern part of this, what they call like Begilodo, that means those trailers that pack a lot of wood. But really what they are transporting is a lot of air. What you find the Chinese do, which we have 2 in Ondo State, they will take the same log, heavy ones, some as big as the base could be as big as this enclosure here. They will saw them into flat sheets. So what they get at the end of the day is the value. That is what they export. That's what they use for MDF, for doors. So it's a completely different. If you go on Third Mainland Bridge, what they are doing there is hard labor. What the Chinese do in something as not bigger than the size of this room, that's value addition. That's something we must think about if you are going to go into industrialization. Now, I talked about the fact that it's very difficult to have industrial development without the government providing the enabling environment in terms of infrastructure. 1% investment in infrastructure has a corresponding, if not more, correlation increase in the GDP of the subnational or the country. States that have developed a lot of infrastructure are reaping the benefits. If you go to a state like Kaduna, go to Anambra and some parts of Lagos, if you go to Ogun, you find out that they are the magnet for foreign direct investment, even local investors. Because the infrastructure there, the last time I was in Anambra, that was a couple of years ago, I was surprised. I was looking for roads that were not tarred, at least in the major arteries of the state. So that drives a lot of investment into it. Once you have infrastructure, people would come. Even the local people, once there's infrastructure, without access, you cannot create market. That's something I say a lot. Without access, you cannot create market. Access allows you to get to the global economy in record time. In Ondo State, for example, when we were, first of all, we came in as a government, I used to travel from Lagos to Ondo 5-7 hours. I knew that life expectancy would be affected. And what did we do? We brought in airlines that crashed the time. So 30 minutes time from Akure, from Lagos, you'll be in Akure. But before then, I asked the last commissioner, why is it that this place did not develop? And he said, when they get to Redeem, from Redeem they get to Shagamu, they see the madness in Ore. They are just polite, they don't come back. Now, it's not them who are not coming back. Even you are not going back. Many of us don't go back now because the infrastructure is not there. So once we get that infrastructure right, development will come on its own right. Because our labor is cheap, but what we don't have is the cost of provision of services makes us unattractive. Because your water, your electricity, your security, when you add all that, it affects the cost of production. But if you have that right, and if you're able to manage it, but you don't have to wait for that to be perfect. If Dangote waited, if Boa waited, if Obaotudeko waited, they won't be in business. In all of those issues, there are opportunities. And some of them, you just have to bite your tongue and continue. And sooner or later, now things are even much better. You have IPP, you have modular electricity solutions that you can use. So really, there's no excuse. Let me put it this way. The opportunities to be an innovator in Nigeria, they are narrowing because a lot of graduates are very smart. The younger ones are terribly smart. So if you are not careful, there's no new idea you are going to bring that somebody has not launched. And if you look at the graduate situation now in the country, the unemployment, in those days, if you had a school cert, you say you are doing well. Like a macaroni, we say you are doing well. If you had a degree, you are doing well. Now, you are not doing well if you don't put a master's. When you now add a master's or a doctorate, you now start competing as if you are competing for your father's job. There are no jobs. Because the evolution of the business culture has taken place such that employment is no longer attractive. Anybody who stays on that track is going to have to pass his pension to his children. But those who, for 2 years, by now, you will know where you are going to get to. You understand? So what I'm trying to say, because when I look at the demographics of people here, if you do not get a job, please start to look inwards. Because your ability not to get a job, nothing that there's anything wrong with you. It's the environment that is not conducive. But no environment rejects good ideas. No environment rejects innovative thinking. No environment rejects creativity. And perhaps God doesn't even want you to get a job. So you have to be mindful of that. But if you don't look into, if anything you focus on, that's what you will get. If you focus on investments like in Ondo State or any of the other states, because I'm not regionally biased. If you focus on investments there, you get something to do. There's somebody who I know who said he could not get a job. Then he started washing clothes. The next thing I heard, he has a dry cleaning outfit, a massive one, but he started from somewhere. But if you had spent 3-4 years going from city, borrowing to go and do CV, to go and buy a suit, so you understand the issues. So there are many things that you could do in many of the states. If you ask the Nigerian Institute of, what do you call it? I've forgotten them. NIPC. There are many things that we could also do. If you ask me or ask anybody in any of the subnationals, the investment promotion agencies, there are a lot of ideas that can come up. There are books and there are write-ups in the newspapers that we also have. 110 products you could do in Nigeria. Some of them startup capital less than $1 million. Some of them startup capital less than 50,000. That is true. But you have to. Now, I think the last thing I would like to say is that in all that you have to do, start small. and not go fast. Thank you.
Questions? Questions, please. Anyone have any question? Okay.
Sir, how much does it take for a young graduate to invest on a business? Like, how much does a fresh graduate that just come out of school, I want to invest? What type of business do you invest on? And how much is it expected to have before going into investment?
Thank you. That's a good question. But like I said, that money will always follow good ideas. If you come to us, we give you land. We give you seedlings. What you just need is your attitude to understand that agric is not an hobby. Agric is a business. And you don't have to depend on people coming to buy. People will eat, they will come and buy. So if you need land, there are very few states now, I can't even think of any state that you want to do agric and not be throwing land at you. Once there's a land justification, even with a lot of policies of states, a lot of incentives to the state governments, federal governments, seedlings, they'll give you seedlings for free. In some cases, they'll help you with implements. Where we have a problem at times is land clearing, because land clearing is very expensive. But at the end of the day, right, if we've had investors like in Ondo State where they don't really have money, you can see it written on the guy that the guy does not have money. But you can also see it written on him that he's using of passion. So people like that, you have to handhold and make sure that you help them. Why? Because once you have a passion for a project, it's just a matter of time you'll be successful. Compare that to somebody who has a lot of money but doesn't have passion. Sooner or later, the first or two, you just move on. You understand? So it's not about how much, it's how badly do you want it. Because you saw the story of the girl who was hawking, who has only one leg. How much did she put in that project? You understand the point? Your zeal, your tenacity, your passion, your can-do-it attitude. In a couple of hours, she attracted attention worldwide. She's now setting up a supermarket. If you, I know you well from church, if you are to set up a business, it's not out of pity, but just because you have set your eyes on it, I'll be compelled to make sure that you make it. Because you have not come borrowing, you have come with something in your hand. You understand the point? So there are many examples. The lady with the agege bread. So what, I didn't even think of those examples, but once you have passion, your passion is a magnet. You just have to ignite it. And your passion should not be in your bedroom. Let people see it, because so that they can log on to your website. Say, this lady has one or two deformities and is selling bread. We must help her. How much more people who have none? So if you start thinking of the things you need, they could dampen your enthusiasm. Just put yourself in the shop window. If this conference were happening underground, we won't know. It's because it's in the shop window. So don't bother yourself with how much. That will come. If money is a problem, then you go and look for a financial partner. Your financial partner need not be somebody who is passionate about the business, but understands the profitability that will come out of it. That is his own contribution in the value chain. You will stay there and leave him there. You are the driver of the business. So that's why I said collaboration is important. Because I know if you start a business, you will stay there. It's as simple. It's very clear. You understand. And you've studied several times to show yourself approved. So you know it's an opportunity of a lifetime. You seize it. I hope I've answered your question.
Any other question?
Hello, I'm into fruit business. Fruits. Yes. And pressure have made me to lose money daily, weekly. What are the equipment, what are the things I can use to preserve those fruits? Thank you.
You see, there's I think it's called FIRO, Federal Institute of some Research. I can't remember the full acronym, the meaning of the full acronym. They are locally manufactured equipments for food preservation in Nigeria that you don't have to go and import. And some of them are cheap, some of them you can get finance for, but I know they are decent. Because a lot of locally manufactured equipments are actually good enough for the first 10 years of any factory that you want to set up. Later, you can do value addition. Go and buy Thailand. In fact, I would take something locally manufactured over a Chinese. No disrespect. Yeah? You can go to Taiwan and buy. Most industries that are set up, like for example, toilet roll factories. Most of the toilet roll factories in this country use locally manufactured equipment. Later, when they want to increase capacity, right, they can then start bringing in foreign equipment, having attained some break-even point and profitability. So there are a lot of people who have, a lot of industrialists who, that is their business, fabrication of local machines. There's a friend, I think it's called Firo. There's a friend where they have exhibitions and you see it around, they go around the country. You can check their website. You see locally manufactured equipment for cassava. Those people who do gari, they don't use any machine made in UK. They use locally manufactured. What Chinese were doing is just packaging. Beyond that, why we suffer, if you go abroad, you see a lot of our gari abroad. Same gari, it's just that it's properly packaged. What you sell in see-through nylon bag here, they know that it will not make it there, so they package it properly. That packaging itself is value addition. So look at people who are, you see, there's no industry that doesn't have an association. I want to go into cashew. I want to go into oil palm. They have an association. In that association, there are small players, there are big players, there are mega players. Join that association so that you don't have any time wasting, you know, and you don't make mistakes. And they will hold your hand. When you join the association, you know, the chairman, the MD of the Institute of Directors was here. Quickly, I liaised with him. I want to see you. I want to be a director. That's an association of directors. Yeah, the link has been made. I'm going to see him. So if you want, if let's say I don't know, what crop do you produce, madam? Sorry?
Mango, pineapple, orange, bananas.
Now, those are very expensive crops abroad that you make a lot of money. You don't even need to go abroad. Here, even for I know some people who have fruit processing plants. The problem they have is that they don't have feed. When I mean feed, they don't have enough mangoes to run the factories. They don't have enough pineapples to run the factories. So you understand? So if you go, there's an association that is for pineapple. There's an association that is for mango. They all have associations. There's no business that doesn't have an association. In that association, they will point you in the right direction for a small membership fee. So look inwards, madam. They are locally made. You always find somebody who has upgraded into foreign manufactured machines who wants to sell. But if you don't look, you will not find. You have to seek. And if I know the Institute of Directors guy, there will be a repository for a lot of information because their database is wide. From even the way he was talking, you will know that, yes, there's nothing that he doesn't have superficial intelligence about. But try and find out from Pharaoh. Also find out if you just Google Association of Cocoa Farmers, Association of Oil Palm, Association of Pineapple, there's an association. There, they have all the knowledge. They will tell you, okay, this is the machine you can have. This is what you can use. Then you now go into how do I finance it? If you don't have money to finance it, take your crop to somebody who has the machine. For a fee, let them process it. You collect your stuff back. You understand what I'm trying to say? In the oil palm industry, what you do is that you gather all the kernels, the FFB, fresh fruit bunches. When you gather them, some people, all they do is that they plant. They don't process. When it's time, they take all their fresh fruit bunches to somebody who has a refinery to add value. They come to a transaction with them. You take this, I take this. Worst case scenario, they lose 20%. But they go back very, very happy. So you don't have to start with, I want to go and buy this, I want to go and buy that. Somebody who has it, most people who have refinery capacities don't have enough feed. That's the story of this country. Because what we have is rain-fed agricultural economy. Like the last speaker said, rain-fed. So when it's rain-fed, it means that some things are out of season. So those who process don't have enough. So if somebody brings his own, they are very welcoming because it means that they can continue to earn some money. You take a lot of it back. I know that happens in the oil palm industry. There are a lot more plantations than refineries or processing plants. So you take it in your trailer and everything. You take the fruit bunches to them. What you get will be, you can have a fruit bunch, the whole of this room. all you will get will be a tanker. That tanker is 200 times what your fresh fruit bunch is, which will go bad after a couple of days. I hope I've answered your question. Okay.
Okay, there is an issue currently with price instability because of the rising inflation rate. What do you think small-scale manufacturing startups can do to manage this situation?
The fluctuation in price is a certainty in the Nigerian economy. You understand that? But as the price fluctuates, so should your own price too. Because nobody sells at a historic price. You understand the point? So you have to manage the supply and demand dynamics. Once prices move, because you have a break-even point. If you don't do proper cost accounting, you start making losses without knowing. Because you have to understand that the fact that you are bringing in money doesn't mean you're profitable. Completely different. So when you cost everything, you must make sure that you are making a profit. But the pressure comes when the items you're dealing in are perishables without any value addition. Then you are desperate to go and dump. I talked about that earlier. So when you're going to a business, you must know that, okay, what do I do? Because if you are time-bound in terms of having to dispose of the produce, you have spent 9 months doing something, then you have to sell in 3-4 days. There's a problem. Cassava doesn't last long. So if you are not able to offload it or dry it, there's a problem. So the inflation does not mean you should sell at a discount. I'm sorry. It's as simple as that. You're only under pressure when it's a perishable. If not, there's no way you can go into a car showroom now. I've seen some very nice cars here and tell them you want to buy it at yesterday's price. They will look at the dollar rate today and let you have it. And you just have to sit. They will come. Everybody knows that. Bread today is not what it was 2 years ago because of the foreign components in the things that they have to bring in. Even if there are no foreign components, most times, and I'm not proud to say this, you dollarize your cost. You know that, okay, it's cost me equivalent of $2. So whatever the currency says, I cannot go below the equivalent of $2. If you want to just keep a track of it elementarily, you don't want to do too much cost accounting. You know that, okay, we spend $2 to produce one item. So it's 2 plus. So when they say the thing has moved, you move. It hardly comes down anyway. Thank you very much.
Okay. My name is Joy, and I've been into honey processing and packaging. So due to my experience in the field, I found out how useful both honey and its byproduct has been. In fact, I have been strictly into unadulterated honey, and I found that it's very, very difficult to actually find unadulterated honey in the market due to my experience. So presently, I am very, very passionate in having a bee farm, and within Lagos State, from what I want. So I am asking, how do I access guidance and assistance from your investment sector?
Last week, an investor got in touch with us that they want 1,000 people to train in honeybee production. And they're asking for 1,000 hectares. Because organic honey is actually premium honey. It's premium honey. So there's a business there. The issue there most times is the packaging. Because honey is honey. If the filtration is right, it's just it comes in nice bottles. We also have bottles here, but what causes the problem? That small paper there is not properly printed in a way that it look nice. Yeah. Now, in your own case, like I said earlier, there's an honey making association. They have an association. They do. There's a Nigerian Export Promotion Council. Are you aware of them? Right. When you go there, because I've been there a couple of times, you see Nigerian products fit for export. That they've gone through the rudimentary level, fit for export. Because it's one thing to produce. If you don't package properly, you won't get value. You start getting funny experiences. The market for adulterated honey is not where you should be because you are producing organic honey. So you should actually be in the premium shops, the shop price, the this and that. That is where you should be. Because you don't go there and find adulterated honey. So you can't be producing with your intellect and be competing with something sold in Ojota or in Ketu. I don't know if you understand. So some of those, you have that. You can even have contract manufacturing. If you go to certain shops, you see a Tesco honey, that's contract manufacturing. If you approach ShopRite or Ebano with their own honey, that's contract manufacturing. So they take it off you because they are already an established brand. But in Nigeria, most products, you don't have a unique brand that anybody is saying is the leader. That lack of leadership is opportunity that you can harness. Because this company that wants to train 1,000 people in Ondo State is a foreign company. So I'm even embarrassed that somebody like you is here. You understand? They come and train 1,000 people. They want 1,000 hectares to do honey. And I know they're not feeding the Nigerian market. So if you go to Nigerian Export Promotion Council, check also for Association for Honey Producers, right? You will find, you see people, there's no produce in Nigeria that somebody is not already taking it out. The pando yam they eat abroad, the same thing. But once they have to go out, they package it properly. They are making money. So you could be in that position soon if you make the right steps. The Export Promotion Council will help you to upgrade because you already have the raw material, you have the produce. What you don't have is the market. They are also in their portals. They have people who go and meet them and send them messages. We want honey from Nigeria. We want you to marry us with a producer. In some cases, they will even help you establish because they don't want to go into the back end of it. They'll give you what it takes, but the contract will be you will sell to us. I don't know if there's any clarity. No, if you are not clear, let me know.
I've been actually getting honey from the producers, directly from producers. What I do is I process it, that is neatly clean the honey and package it properly.
Yes.
Now, what I want now is to own a bee farm.
Okay. Now, can I ask you, before you own a bee farm, what have you done? Have you done with your marketing? Because if you process and you are ready, if I go to the shop now, would I find your honey in any of the shops?
Some.
Okay. What am I trying to say? Before you think of backward integration, already I've exhausted your forward integration because that's where the cash is. That backward integration is going to cost you money. If you don't have an outlet for the produce that you are going to backward integrate, you see, you are going to get stuck. I don't know if you understand the point. It's very nice to say I own a factory, but to what intent?
Okay,
I don't know if you understand.
Okay, so I should focus on
your marketing,
a brand in the market.
Yes.
Okay.
So, when you have secured your market, then you want to increase your profit. You can, and also to maintain the quality because now you are buying from Boye and Sons, Doris and Daughters. Now to maintain your quality, you plow back some of your profit for backward integration in a cottage fashion initially. Because if you have capacity to do the best honey, but you have no marketing outlet, what have you done?
I get you, sir. I get you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'd like to call on Joseph for pictures, please. Please, a round of applause. Thank you so much, sir. And we're going to go on to our final session. The topic of discussion is innovations in high-end power availability solutions for manufacturing industry. I would like to call on Mr. John Adeosun. He's the CEO of Actolog Solutions Limited, and he'll be representing the MD. Please, a round of applause for Mr. John.
lot of these. Good afternoon. While we are waiting for the media to do the projection, I want to appreciate the organizer for this opportunity. I'm standing in for my MD, who is unavoidably absent here. And we are going to talk about power solutions to all these things we have been saying since morning. I want us to know very well that there's no industry you want to set up presently in Nigeria where we will not talk about the issue of power. And not only the availability of it, how clean is the one you are having. And I believe by the end of this presentation, we should know better. When we are going for any equipment, which ones should we go for? What should be the backup we are planning for? Okay. While we are waiting, and the topic here says innovation in power availability solution for manufacturing plant and mission critical loads. Now, nature of modern manufacturing equipment. You will all agree with me that the manufacturing equipment we have these days are not the type we have in the 70s or in the 60s. Nowadays, we have equipment that are hybrid of computer, electrical, and mechanical parts. Meaning that if you want to take, for instance, a mango producing machine or whatever, or processing machine forever or whatever, you discover that inside that particular machine, we talk about the computer aspect, the electrical aspect, and the mechanical aspect. That is the present day equipment we have. Then robots with less and less human interventions. All this equipment you see, when the last speaker was speaking, my mind flashed back to this area of plantain chips. I've moved around Lagos and somewhere in Ogun State. I see people cutting this thing with knife and put it inside hot oil and so on and so forth. But this thing can be produced better. Then now, you discover that present day machines, equipment, they come with robots that has less human interventions. Then composition of highly sensitive microchips. Now, if we know that production are computer controlled and programmed, and so on and so forth. Now, nature of going to power is the lifeblood of all manufacturing. For instance, in Nigeria, you want to produce anything. The first thing that comes to your mind is, where is that power? What will be the source? Am I going to do solar? Am I going to bring in diesel generator? Am I going for fuel cell, which is not readily available in our country right away? But the one that are available, the national grid, as we can see here, in terms of cost, it is relatively cheap, relative. Then some people will think, okay, I can go for gas power plant, low cost as well, relatively. Then there come these diesel generators, which we all know that purchasing and maintaining them come at a very high cost. Some may think, I want to do solar power farm. And these are the sources available to us presently in Nigeria. What are the challenges of all these raw power sources? Now, if you look at the PHCN, the public power, all of us are familiar with the issue of voltage surge, spikes, brownout, intermittent outages. I believe everybody is familiar with that. Intermittent outages. Now, somebody is setting up a manufacturing plant where we have all these sensitive examine. There are some equipment that need this thing, just like medical equipment, for instance. Now, somebody is going for X-ray, machine, MRI, and so on and so forth like that. You cannot expect that person to just buy a diesel generator or be waiting for Ikeja Electric or whatever to just be alternating between between Ikeja Electric and diesel generator without doing anything in between. So how do we resolve this to make sure that we move away from this dirty or electrical pollution to where we can get clean electricity? Now, Makesan UPS solution to dirty power. This power, the energy pollution we are talking about, there are solutions to it. And there are 3 types of UPS solution. If you are thinking of getting a very nice equipment, manufacturing equipment, something should be at the back of your mind, and that is the power, I mean the backup to that equipment. I'm a medical entrepreneur, whatever. I have all these sensitive equipment I've purchased at a very high cost. Do I leave them in the hand of Ikeja Electric or PSCN, diesel generator, we are waiting for somebody to go and change the source of power and so on and so on. What will happen to all those equipment? That's why we are recommending Makesan UPS solution to all these power issues. Then when we are talking about UPS, there are different types of UPSs available in the market. But what we see these days is that people just, I need a UPS, I need a UPS, I need a UPS. They just go to the market and just buy anything they will feel or they see, or something that is marketed onto them. Now, look at it now. We have 3 types of UPSs in the industry. We have offline, which no protection against the dirty power we talked about the other time. Offline UPS. We have line interactive, which some people call smart UPS, mid-range protection. Then we have the third one, online double conversion UPS. This one comes with full protection. So when next we are buying, I want to protect my equipment. I want to protect my MRI. I want to protect my cashew processing equipment. Which UPS is best for this? Which UPS is best for this equipment? Now, if you go to the market and you stumble on the UPS called offline UPS. Offline UPS, for some of us that are just so that we will not be disturbed with the technical word, just like an inverter. I believe most of us are familiar with an inverter. An inverter, the first set of inverter that came into this country, when there is power outage, you discover that everything in the house will go down. Then the inverter will pick up. Now, there are UPSs in the market like that. When there's a power cut, everything on the UPS, which are the load now, whether it's computer, pumping machine, and so on and so forth, everything will go off. Then the inverter will start, or the UPS. That's how the offline inverter be. And if you look at that diagram, you discover that from the green part is taken from the raw, that's the raw power supply that is coming in, either from your generator or from your PSCN or whatever. It's going through a switch to your load. If you look at it very well, no single point of protection in that line, meaning that anything that is coming either from your PSCN or from generator is what is going through your load. That's what's going to the load, and that is not good enough for all this equipment we are talking about. Then where there is power cut, it switch to the battery. That's where if you look at the second diagram, you see the other green below. That's moving from the battery power to the load. That's an offline inverter. Everything will go off, then it will pick up to supply the load. There is the second one. I don't want to bother out with the theoretical aspect of the offline. You can go to the next one. Let's go to line interactive. I like to use this schematic diagram to explain. Now, when you look at this schematic diagram compared to the first one we had, you discover there is a form of an AVR in between the incoming supply voltage and the one that goes to the load. And the one that goes to the load. In this type of UPS, there are some form of protection in between. But the protection is not as expected. If you see all these, there are some UPSs in the market. Just say, oh, I want the 1 kVA UPS, I want the 3 kVA UPS. They tell you, what do you want to power? I say computer, okay, this one. They just give it to you. Most UPS you are buying in this range are line interactive UPS. There's a form of protection, but the protection that is in them, it is not good for the manufacturing equipment we are anticipating. They are not the best. If you look at it, let's go to the last one. The last type of the UPS, which is the best and the recommended UPS for any manufacturing equipment, is the one we call online double conversion UPS. I will tell you the difference between this and the line interactive. I told you the offline is just like an inverter, so we don't even move near there. If you are not talking of powering up the lightings and some other things. So this one, the online double conversion UPS. How does it work? This is the same issue we are addressing presently. Now, imagine you are having a factory, or you are having it may be a photo studio or video, whatever, and you've set up all your computer, all of them are working very well, and what happened now just happened. Let's just imagine the effect this will have on our production process. For instance, now, somebody is producing, I've been to a factory where these pens are produced. You can see everything is line by line. After this process, move to another process, Then in that process, there is a power cut, and everything has to stop. If that production process stopped, a lot of things are involved. Now, materials will be wasted, number one. Secondly, man-hour. We know some people that are supposed to be working, they'll just be moving around as they are until they bring back the power, until power is restored. We are waiting for one guy on the gate to run the generator and so on and so forth like that. So you understand all those things. Then the second one, the productivity. What will happen at the end of the day? The factory that's supposed to produce probably something of 20,000 cartons. At the end of the day, due to this intermittent power supply, you produce less. That is the essence for this online double conversion UPS. If you look at that schematic diagram, you discover that there's a 3-level conversion there. The incoming supply is the normal AC supply that we have everywhere, from your NEPA, from your generator, whatever. Then this UPS converts it to DC. From the same DC, depend on the design, there are some level of protection in that line. There are some level of where they increase the DC voltage. That will be DC to another DC. But what we are talking here is that from the AC converted to DC, then that DC supply, the DC, part of it will charge your battery, and the same DC will be feeding your inverter. When I mean inverter here, I'm not talking of the inverter in the house, the one that is supplying us our this thing. The inverter here is like is a part of this online UPS we are talking about. The DC will be feeding the inverter. When there is a power cut, unlike the line interactive and offline, you discover that the DC is present continuously at the inverter input, meaning that inverter is the one supplying your load. Whether there is power cut here or there is no power cut, the load which we are, for the purpose of this gathering, we are looking at manufacturing equipment. The load are being supplied constant, clean power all the time, as long as that unit is running. Let's look at the online conventional double conversion UPS, rectify the input supply, boost the voltage to a fixed level, store the energy in, and so on and so forth. Don't let us bother ourselves with all those technicalities. Difference between major difference. Online UPS have zero transfer time because inverter is always supporting the load. I've said that. While line interactive UPS has a transfer time of about 5 nanoseconds to switch to battery backup mode. That switching time, somebody may say, the 5 nanoseconds, or somebody will say less than some seconds, my equipment will be back. But let us consider the effect those things are having on our equipment. Talk of medical equipment, manufacturing equipment, and so on and so forth. Now, McKesson range of online UPS solutions. Now, for us to be able to tackle this problem of intermittent outages, surge, spike, and so on and so forth, McKesson UPS, they've come out with a lot of range, with many range of UPSs online that can take care of our load. If you look at the first one there, we say power pack. That is the one between 1 kVA to 10 kVA, and they are mostly ones single phase UPS. Somebody will say, I was inside the banking hall. I discovered that there was a power outage. I could not see the next person. You want to back up some computer systems. You look at your load, maybe it's a single phase load, and it's not more than 10 kVA. It is recommended that we should go for a single phase. The load is single phase. Go for an online UPS that's within that range. If the load is not a single phase load, there are other types here. If you look at it, we talk about that, like the power pack we are talking about, the McKesson product in particular. Look at the input window now. This is the greatest challenge we have in the country. Do you know that somebody that has invested so much on manufacturing equipment, somebody has invested so much on medical equipment, at the same time, the person also went to the market, purchased a UPS, online UPS, so to say, is connected. Along the line, here comes this power supply from public power supplier, and you discover that instead of you having your normal 220 to power through from your supply to the UPS, then to the load, what you are getting is around 110, or even like in one area I visited of recent, 90. Something we are supposed to have 220, 230, 240. We are getting 90, 40. Now, how do we cope in this arrangement? Even if you have installed a UPS, not all UPS can cope with that power supply. You know what will happen? The UPS will just pretend as if nothing is coming in. The UPS will fall on its battery power, and we use its battery power to supply your load for as long as that battery can take you. Now, in the process, the experience we may have is that you are working, there is power supply from either Ikeja Electric or Enugu Electric, whatever. You are sure there is power availability. Yet, along the line, you discover the load just got shut down. Medical equipment, in the process of working, everything just went off like that. What could be the reason? The UPS is there working. The UPS has, when it's discovered that the voltage range to the supply, the input to it is no longer acceptable, the UPS fall on its battery power. Then, when the battery power got to the end of discharge, the UPS we shut down. Now, for this particular brand of UPS, you can see the input voltage window from 110 to 300 VAC. some people will say it is not possible. We were at Best Western Hotel, somewhere around, I think, sometime around 2019. I told the audience there, this UPS can accept as low as 110 input supply, and we continue to give you your normal 220 or 230, depend on the setting. One of the engineers at the forum said it is not possible. Luckily, we had our FARIAC, we have the UPS with us. I told them, let's practicalize this. Somebody standing there, somebody is monitoring the output of the UPS. The person working on the UPS kept on reducing the input voltage to the UPS. The UPS kept on producing the normal output voltage 220 until after 110 voltage supply. Then immediately after that, the UPS switched on to battery power. I said it is possible. This is one of the beauty of this particular brand of UPS. So if you are thinking of a single phase UPS and the power supply in your area is so bad that you are not sure that it's even up to probably 120 or thereabout, think of this particular type of online UPS. And I can assure you, it will do the job, since the aim is just to protect the load, which is the equipment now. Then if you look at the frequency range, between 40 and 70, most equipment in Nigeria presently, most of them, if the frequency vary between 48 and 52, the standard is 50 Hz. If the voltage vary between 48, anything less than 48, anything more than 52, you discover that the equipment keep on complaining. But for this UPS, this particular UPS brand, if the frequency is below supply your load. Then after the power pack, there are Boxer series. Boxer series are three-phase equipment, though there is a Boxer S now. For some of us that we have opportunity of getting our product catalog, you will see the difference between Boxer series and Boxer S. It ranges from 10 kVA to 120 kVA, all three-phase. These are three-phase UPSs. If the equipment you are buying, most times some people will tell us, give us quotation for this, the load is blah, blah, like this. The question is, are the load three-phase equipment or single-phase? Somebody will say, I don't know. If you don't know, you must know. You need to know. If the equipment you are buying to process your cassava, this thing, if the equipment is three-phase, you can't go and buy UPS of a single-phase. You can't go and buy equipment of UPS of single-phase to power it. So you need to be sure if it's three-phase, Boxer series is there for you to take care of that from 10 kVA to as high as 120 kVA. Then if your own is more than 120 kVA, just like we have some factories around, like we did one of recent at Ikeja, one of the factory at Ikeja, level up series, up to from 10 kVA three-phase UPS down to 1,000 kVA. What is that load? What is the capacity of that manufacturing equipment you are talking about, or we are thinking about? The solution, the power backup for them are already in town. And for this particular brand of UPS, another advantage of it is this. Even if your capacity, your factory capacity is more than 1,000 kVA, somebody will say 1,000 kVA, what are you talking about? The beautiful thing about this particular brand of UPS is that they can be connected in parallel up to 8 units. Now, up to 8 units, let's assume the first one you are buying is 1,000 kVA. When we power the load, discover that the load on this UPS is more than or after the analysis, 1,000 cannot do the job. But the highest of this brand is 1,000 kVA. What we need to do next is, let's look at 2 units of 1,000 kVA. Then they will be installed, connected in parallel. There is parallel upgrade, and there is parallel redundancy. Parallel upgrade means that from 1,000 you add another 1,000, making it 2,000 kVA. But if it is parallel redundancy, that one is that, okay, the first 1,000, if anything happened to this UPS, the next UPS will take over and continue to supply our load. So these are the ranges we have, a modular UPS there, MP series, starting from 10 kVA to 2,080 kVA. The peculiarity of this MP series is that they are scalable. They are modular UPS in the sense that you can decide to buy 20 kVA today. We bring the 20 kVA module. We slot it in. If you power your load, fine. If you did not power your load, or you are planning to expand the factory in the nearest future, you don't need to go and call somebody and say, I bought 20 kVA that time. Let's discuss it. Let's throw it away. All you needed to do is just to say, okay, what is the level of our increase, as in terms of increasing the capacity of the factory? If it is another 20 kVA, just get another 20 kVA, add it to it. If it's another 20 kVA, continue to add to it up till like 8 pieces. So that one is modular in the sense that you can also add, you can move as your factory is increasing, add another 20 kVA, add another 20 kVA, add another 20 kVA. That's the advantage of MP series. And the last one here, which I want to talk about quickly, is Boxer series for, I think, page 17. Boxer series for elevator and other regenerative load. Boxer series for elevators and other regenerative load. Let me share this experience with us for some of us to know very well that it is not all about company A is selling UPS. Company X is selling UPS. I work with an elevator company for more than 10 years before I left the place. And in the course of our experience, we discovered that in the process of trying to back up an elevator, somebody will say, I enter my elevator when there's power cut, everybody was trapped. The ideal thing is to recommend a UPS. If you are recommending a UPS for that elevator, recommend an online UPS, which will be able to protect that lift. If there's a power cut, the UPS will fall on its battery power. The elevator is going to have its regular supply. So it can take you to, even if you are going to the 17th floor. But the challenge is this. There are some new elevators in town that you just decide to buy UPS, you connected the UPS, and there is power, the elevator is moving, you discover that as the elevator is moving, your UPS is shutting down. Or some, as the moment there is a power cut, instead for your UPS, the online UPS now, to protect your elevator, what you discover is that both the elevator, the UPS, everything will shut down. Now, that one, we discover something that there is a kind of feedback system. You know, power is moving from the source through the UPS, then to the elevator. Now, we discovered that the new technology now for some brand of elevator is that when the elevator is moving, elevator generates its own, power. And that power must go back to the system. And in going back to the system, there is a UPS that has been installed on the line. Now, if that power, the feedback is going back, it does show that most of the UPS will just decide to no, I am not designed for this purpose. Then the UPS will shut down. What do we call that? Regenerative load. When the elevator is moving, for some of us that are familiar with electrical term, we know that when something bed coupled with another thing, they're moved, there's a kind of energy that will be generated. That one we tend to go back to the system. Then we had our experience. We brought in this UPS. It was not working. We brought in this UPS. It was not. So what could we do? Okay, we contacted our equipment manufacturer. This is a peculiar challenge in Nigeria. The people that were designing the other UPS, they did not take note of, okay, probably in the future, an elevator company will come with a design that, okay, we come with a regenerative energy, So we talked to them and we are able to come out with a solution. And as I'm talking to you today, all you needed to tell us is that, okay, my elevator is this year, the elevator is produced this particular year, is this brand, and so on and so forth. From that one, if you tell us this is the year of the year the equipment was manufactured, then this is the brand of the lift, of the elevator, we'll be able to tell you that elevator is a regen type. If it's not a regen type, we tell you, okay, another UPS can work with this. But if it's come with a regenerative drive, there's no alternative to it. You must get this Marquesan brand of UPS that is specially designed for that purpose. So for you to know that this thing is not limited to only the manufacturing plant, medical equipment, and so on and so forth. And the last on this list is UPS solution for large plants. This large plant, we call the UPS a dynamic UPS. All of us, most of us here, I believe we are familiar with the static, what do we call it, this regular UPS I've talked about. But there's this particular brand of UPS, we call it dynamic UPS. Dynamic UPS in the sense that it does not use battery. It does not, you don't, just like it works like a normal diesel generator, but how will it work? Somebody will say, it does not use battery. And if there is a power cut, it will provide backup. There's a technology called flywheel technology. For some of us that are electrically inclined, we get understanding of that. But the advantage of this is that, like when the commissioner was talking the other time, he was talking about the light ray, the blue ray we move from Okokomaiko to CMS. From CMS, we move down to Lekki, Artis, and so on and so forth. I want us to know that behind all those movements, there are a lot of investment in power backup. Because this is Nigeria. Yet the government wants to move the train from Okokomaiko or from Badagry down to Lekki. But you know anything can happen along the line. If anything happens, what should be? And how many battery stack do we want to put in place for you to be able to protect the train moving from Badagry to that? So that's the area where this dynamic UPS will be very, very useful. The efficiency is so high in the sense that it does not have all this, we are replacing battery today, replacing battery tomorrow, and so on and so forth. You can see heavy duty green technology. And so that's the last part on the UPS series that we have. I think if there's any further, okay, let me quickly round up by this. All Marquesan UPS can be managed remotely. That's another beautiful thing about this particular product. You just tell us the type of remote monitoring you want. Some of us are familiar with, most of us are familiar with, I want to install SNMP, I want to do this so that if I'm at home, I can open the system. It's good. But we can do a kind of remote shutdown. You don't need to be there. You just sit down at the comfort of your. By 5:30, they expect everybody to have left. If you are still in the office at that time, the company has so programmed their UPS to the extent that by 5:30, the unit is shutting down. And when it's shut down, nobody can start it. So there are other means at which you can manage our UPS remotely. Receive SMS for set event. Just like your UPS is developing a fault, you can configure in such a way that it will notify you battery fault, rectifier fault, or inverter fault on your UPS. Remote pre-diagnosis. So that's what I've just said. Who we are Actolog Solution Limited. And what our core value from what page 21, you can see our core value, our vision. Let me just read one. To be the best company in the provision of high-quality state-of-art infrastructure, to support for ICT and other critical equipment. Our core value, quality, cost effectiveness. You don't need to spend big. Some people will call us, oh, we have invested this, we have spent this, and blah, blah, blah. You don't need to be all that expensive for you to get value for your money. Then we build relationship, promptness. If you call us, we attend to you. That is who we are. Strategic partnership. You know, I've been talking about Marquesan brand of UPS. This particular UPS is manufactured in Turkey, and we are the sole distributor of it in the West African region here. The UPS is very reliable, and as Actolog Solution Limited, other solutions provided by Actolog, UPS and power protection, if it's surge matter, solar inverter, hybrid solution, power system automation, automatic voltage regulator, AVR, whether static or the regular one, battery solution, access control, power networking, FM 200, effective earthing solution, lightning arrestor, dehumidification system, HPAS solution, power consultancy, and so on and so forth. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. John. Please, does anyone have questions before we wrap up? Anybody? Okay, that's fine. Thank you so much for okay, one question.
It's a colleague, but I want to ask this question that someone from the stand over there asked for the interest of everyone. I don't know what you mean by clean power and dirty power. So does it mean that UPS, your brand, refines, does the power come with dust and whatever? What we that doesn't know this electrical whatever, how do we know when the power is clean and when it's dirty? The man asked, I bought a television. It costs so much. And I was told it has a stabilizer or whatever inside. But the constant fluctuation in power, I had issue with it after 8 months. When I took it back, I was told that the power affected it. And he was asking over there, will this provide a solution? I'm setting up a place where I will have data centers and so on. So that's prompted this question, the clean power and the dirty power. Please, can you differentiate a little?
Okay, let me use the online technology to do that. If you look at that's page 7. Page 7, if you can get page 7, let's start from the offline. The offline, if you look at that diagram there, you discover that the power that is coming from, whether it's from your generator or from PACN, is the same power that goes to the load, direct, no protection, nothing. And this is what we have mostly in the country. Somebody will say, we just invested heavily on our diesel generator, we just invested so heavily the light. In fact, some people will tell you in our community, we contributed and we got a special transformer. Special transformer does not mean you will not be prone to all this voltage increase. Like when I started from, I said one of the challenges of this manufacturing industry is these electrical surges, spike, brownout, intermittent outages. For some of us that don't know what electrical surge is just a sudden increase in voltage. If your equipment is receiving 220 volt incoming voltage, steady, there will be something will happen somewhere. And that voltage will just move from 220 to like probably 400 volt. But you will not know. Within a very, very short time, less than 3 seconds, 3 milliseconds or nanoseconds, that thing will happen. At times it will pass. Nothing will happen to your equipment. But where it affects so much is this. If you get home, we can try this so that you know the effect of all these surges and spike on our equipment. When you get home, just try to use your finger like this. Continue to tap your forehead or any part. Let me just say your forehead. Continue to tap it continuously like that for like probably 30 seconds. Somebody will say, it's just a normal tap now, but continue to do it repeatedly. Then before you know, you discover that this thing is not getting normal again. No. So that is the effect of this surge. It comes this time around, piam. The thing will disappear. The second time, it will go. The third time, the fourth time, you may not be lucky. That's why you say, we thought this thing. So, but if the online UPI I told us about, if it's in between the load, in between the supply and the load, look at it, AC to DC, DC down to AC. It means that regardless of what is coming in from the supply, your load has no business with what is coming in. The UPS has done its own internal arrangement, processed its own supply that I want to give to your load, and that supply is constant, whether the supply is there, whether it's not there. So that's just the basic difference. I think that.
Thank you so much, Mr. John Adeosun. A round of applause for him. We've come to the final session of MWA 2021. Please use the hashtag MWA 2021 to post pictures on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're going to be here tomorrow again. Please wait behind for refreshments. There's going to be light refreshments.
Okay, so after we close the show, we'll have welcome reception party for everyone here, light drinks, small chops that will happen here after the expo hall has been closed. We just got information from the Landmark Center that as long as you have this tag, you have access to the beach for 3 days. So after the event, if you feel like walking around the beach, you can go there and ease off some stress. Thank you very much.
Refined. Cool. Correct. Well then, here you go. And say cheers to Guinness Smooth. Guinness Smooth, not to be sold to persons under the age of 18. Drink.
Hi, my name is Joseph Oro. I'm the project director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses went down the drain. But we have decided to create this platform to bring businesses together. If you're in the manufacturing sector, industrial technology, if you're into any form of manufacturing and supporting industry, you want to be at the Landmark Event Center. Hope to meet you there. Hi, my name is Joseph Oro. I'm the project director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses went down the drain. But we have decided to create this platform to bring businesses together. If you're in the manufacturing sector, industrial technology, if you're into any form of manufacturing and supporting industry, you want to be at the Landmark Event Center. Hope to meet you there. Hi, my name is Joseph Oro. I'm the project director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses went down the drain. But we have decided to create this platform to bring businesses together. If you're in the manufacturing sector, industrial technology, if you're into any form of manufacturing and supporting industry, you want to be at the Landmark Event Center. Hope to meet you there. Hi, my name is Joseph Oro. I'm the project director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses went down the drain. But we have decided to create this platform to bring businesses together. If you're in the manufacturing sector, industrial technology, if you're into any form of manufacturing and supporting industry, you want to be at the Landmark Event Center. Hope to meet you there. Hi, my name is Joseph Oro. I'm the project director for Equipping and Manufacturing West Africa. I would like to invite you to attend the event happening on the 27th to 29th of April at the Landmark Event Center. 2020 was an unprecedented year and a lot of businesses